here in chat for anybody that wants to hop in as well. I'm also going to quickly throw in an announcement here on the announcements channel. Again, for those that are in here that have the verified developer role, this is the second to last workshop. So if you attend this one and then the next one, and you also attended the last previous ones, then we will throw around 10,000 ally your way. Let me quickly throw on the announcement, and we should be good to go. I'll provide kind of a quick overview of the structure of the workshop today, and then we can go from there. So let me just quickly type this out. Live with Biconomy. And also, if you guys want, like as usual, we have this live streamed on YouTube, so I can throw over the link here as well. Our YouTube channel has pretty much everything you can imagine, all of our developer tutorials. We also have the last two workshops that we did there on the YouTube channel. So here we have the session 4 with Biconomy now live on YouTube. So here is the link right there. Sounds like the audio is working, so that's good to hear. In the workshop chat here, I will throw in that link. So head over to that if you want. That'll of course be recorded and available after the fact as well. But we'll probably give it another 3 or so minutes here just to let everybody pop in, and so I can throw out the announcement of our workshop marathon. Cool. Today, basically, or I guess not today, but over the past 24 hours or so, we did 2 other workshops. The first was with Zeta Chain, and the second was with Tyco. Those are really cool. It was great to hear from them and kind of explore that side of the infrastructure space. You know, a big part of the goal with these workshops was to kind of provide an overview of the stack of kind of what it looks like to build next generation applications in Web3. There's a lot of infrastructural components that contribute to this idea of a next generation application. So something that feels Web2 adjacent, that kind of abstracts away a lot of the intrinsic complexities with Web3. So this is what the point of the workshop marathon is to kind of dive in these solutions and explore how this happens, how you can build those types of applications, and how you can potentially create like the next thing that actually onboards this idea of the next billion users. That's of course what we're all building towards. So when you're building these applications, typically you'll look at infrastructure like account abstraction. That's what we're covering today. You'll look at, of course, wallet as a service, social login. That's what we do at Particle. Omni-chain, like what we covered with Zeta Chain, and of course intrinsic scalability to significant a number of people while remaining decentralized, like we covered with Tyco. So we're kind of hitting each major pillar of really powerful applications here within the workshops. So we're going to be having the about 30 to 40 minute workshop here with Biconomy, and then later today, and I guess maybe about 6 hours or 7 hours, we'll have another one with Alchemy, diving also a little bit more into the account abstraction side from that angle, from a slightly different perspective. So a lot of cool stuff. It is definitely an AA focused day today. Pretty excited for it. For those of you that were here, like I mentioned a moment ago, I'm seeing more people are in the audience now. So for those of you that were here for the past few workshops, make sure that you have the verified developer role. If you did join for the past 2 and you have the verified developer role, then by the end of this, we will throw 10,000 ally over to you. I'll kind of shoot some people messages that I've been seeing pop up pretty frequently. And I see some familiar names in here, so I think that that'll be a good chunk of people. And beyond that, of course, the video is linked in the chat. If anybody wants to watch after the fact or go watch our past 2 really strong sessions, I had a lot of fun with those. And I think out of all the topics, this is probably one of the ones that I'm most excited for because it is, especially when it comes to like modular smart accounts, stuff like that, something that I have explored, but probably not as much as I should have. So I'm pumped to jump into this. But maybe I think we have our speaker already in the chat. If you want to go ahead and raise your hand, I will pull you up here. And what I'll also do is quickly give you permission, admin permissions, because what we've had so far is we have had a few issues with speakers not being able to screen share and whatnot. So I'll throw you up here and hopefully it should work. Do a quick sound check. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Just came back actually from the beach about 30 minutes ago. Had a small workout. So yeah, pumped for this workshop. Thanks
Likewise.
for inviting. Thanks for hosting us.
Yeah, no problem. Where are you based right now? Like what part of the
Uh,
world are you at?
yeah, yeah. Right now I'm traveling. Right now I'm in Goa, India.
Interesting. Nice. That's dope. We're actually we're centrally based out in Singapore, and then I'm out here in Denver, which is a good position to be in right now because I guess ETH Denver is happening in about a month. Are you guys planning on heading out to that?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know yet. I believe that we're going to be there as a company. Uh, Regarding me, I'm not so sure.
Nice. It's a big one. We're excited for it. We're going to be hopefully running or kind of co-hosting a few side events, and we'll be doing like a bounty for the main hackathon. So if anybody in the audience is planning on hacking at ETH Denver, show me a DM and we can meet up in person. It's 30 minutes from where I live, so it's always a convenient event for me to attend. But perfect. I think it is now 8, so we are kind of good to kick it off. Like I mentioned, really excited for the topic that we're going to be jumping into today. This workshop will be, of course, live here on Discord. Discord doesn't have a recording feature, so we'll also have it live on YouTube, kind of adjacently, and then also recorded on YouTube to see after the fact. But I think maybe what we can get started with is, so far over the last few minutes, I've given a very high level, kind of like vague overview of what Biconomy is. But do you want to tell us a little bit more about kind of exactly what type of infrastructure you guys provide, the philosophy behind your product stack, and stuff like that?
Yeah. So basically, uh, right now, Biconomy provides the whole stack for account abstraction, and uh, I actually work in Biconomy for 1 year, but the company exists much more than this. And in a before account abstraction era, Biconomy was the first company to provide gasless solutions. Um and when account abstraction started uh, to develop, it was a no-brainer that Biconomy should jump in. And right now we provide all kind of solutions for debt who want to empower their users with the Web2 experience in Web3. That's a common place. Everyone tries to do this, but I believe that account abstraction will bring the next wave of the mass adoption to Web3. Biconomy provides bundler, paymaster, and I'm working since I joined Biconomy. I'm working on the Biconomy Smart Account. I'm a blockchain developer. Most of the time, I work with the smart contracts, and I've led the transition of Biconomy Smart Account uh, from just the very first version, experimental version of the smart account, to the modular architecture. And right now, together with guys from Rhinestone, Zero Dev, OKX, we are like polishing our proposal 7579 about modular smart accounts. And the currently deployed version of the Biconomy smart account is the second one, and the third one should be released, I hope, in Q1 this year, and it should be compliant to ERC 7579 standard. Yep, that's pretty much it.
Perfect. Yeah, well, I was
And
just
yeah, so sorry. And since you asked about the products, obviously, yeah, one of the most important products, Biconomy's most important products is Biconomy SDK that allows devs easily integrate with our smart contracts, with our bundlers, and with our paymaster. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the Biconomy SDK actually just wrote a tutorial covering that on our new docs that we're going to be releasing pretty soon. Maybe it was a week or two ago. And it was really good. I mean, you guys, the OGs of like really solid account abstraction tooling. I think with us, when our first like account abstraction in our like integration was entirely driven by Biconomy, if I remember correctly. So like everything was Biconomy, all of our paymasters and bundlers, stuff like that was from you guys. And now today we have native support for Biconomy paymasters and of course both V1 and V2 of your smart account implementation. And it is probably one of our most used implementations today. We actually had our People's Alliance campaign, which many in the server kind of discovered Particle from, driven entirely by Biconomy smart accounts. So Biconomy V2 smart accounts drove that entire campaign, facilitated session keys. Even we used the Biconomy token paymaster for a lot of that. So definitely there's a long history between Particle and Biconomy. And I'm really interested today to hear more about this modular smart account piece. I've done a lot of research into it over the past kind of few months, especially at these different events. I've heard a lot of talks about it, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more about it from your end. And of course, to kind of give our audience an introduction to what you guys are building in that realm, as well as anything else that you want to do. So, now that we've kind of introduced Biconomy, we understand what it is, and of course, kind of your role at Biconomy. Maybe what we can do is kind of kick it off. If you have like a specific agenda or kind of a structure that you want to go with, diving into this information, that we can kick it off here and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. And yeah, thanks for mentioning this new docs suite that Biconomy just released. I actually was preparing to this workshop using Biconomy documentation. As I said, I mostly work with smart contracts, and to prepare for this workshop, I was building a small demo dep to showcase what I want to showcase. And it was really interesting to use our own documentation as a third-party developer and build everything. Obviously, I have some insights because I've been building the backend for this SDK, but it was really interesting to use this SDK. As a brief overview, what I want to showcase today is one of our new session validation modules. I'm a huge fan of modularity. That's why not only our smart account is modular, but our session keys ecosystem is modular as well. So we have modules and we have modules for the module. That's what like this modular architecture for the session keys. That what makes our session keys ecosystem kind of very flexible and adaptable. And whatever use case you have and you want to power with the Biconomy session keys, you'll be able to do this. Because I will dive deeper into this later, but basically you can just build a very simple module for the Biconomy session keys, and it will and you will be able to cover any complex use case you have. Today I want to showcase one of our session validation modules, such modules, which can unlock and which can support plenty of use cases, and which can allow any dApp to build very complex flow scenarios by not touching Solidity code at all. So I will quickly explain how our modular session keys ecosystem works. I will explain what is the session key manager or what are session validation modules. I will quickly explain the idea behind the ABI session validation module, this universal session validation module, which out of the box will provide a lot of opportunities for dev developers. Then I will show this demo dep which I have built, how it works, and providing. Then we can jump to the code. I will provide a few insights into the code. I think that will pretty much explain how everything works. But if we will have questions, obviously I will be open to answer them.
Perfect. That sounds awesome. Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can. I think you should have permission to screen share if you wanted to kind of go through that demo.
Yeah,
And then what
let
we'll
me try
do.
to.
is also after you kind of are done running through that, we'll also maybe leave an additional 5 to 10 minutes for questions from the audience. If there are any, then we can kind of we can go through it like that.
Yeah. Let me try to go live.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, okay, let me turn off my camera. I think my screen is enough. So can you see the presentation right now?
Right now we can see your Discord client.
Only the Discord. Okay, let me check. How do I share? Ah, okay. I should share the entire screen. And right now?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So today, uh, uh, obviously, session keys are one of the most powerful concepts in Web3 and in era like which was enabled by account abstraction. Before account abstraction, it was not very easy to enable session keys. Basically, when you have an EOA, when you provide uh, you can't provide granular permissions from your EOA. From your smart account, you can provide complex permissions, and that makes session keys possible. So you can provide like to a session key, you can allow to sign only a certain kind of operations, and that means that DApp can now perform certain actions on behalf of your smart account, but only those actions that you have allowed. If you provide the private key from your EOA, obviously one can perform any actions on behalf of your EOA, but with the smart account, you can configure very in a very flexible way which permissions do you provide to the DApp, which DApp can do on behalf of your smart account. So yeah, that's why we've built our session keys ecosystem modular itself to unlock any use cases a DApp can in theory have. And today, yeah, as I said, I will speak about how to build the custom interaction flows authorized with session keys. What I mean by custom interaction flows, I mean that it won't be just a, let's say, transfer ERC20 token or transfer a native token, but it can be some complex flow, like allow, swap, take, and so on. So very quickly, how Biconomy modular session keys ecosystem work. So what's important to know? I hope you're familiar very generally with the 4337, like ERC 4337, which is the like most actively used proposal for the account abstraction now. So we have the entry point, which let's say starts or all the interactions. We have the smart account itself, and then we have, since the smart account is modular, we have modules, and the session key manager module is this, let's say, layer one module enabled for the smart account. And since the Biconomy session keys ecosystem is modular itself, we have also session validation modules. So what happens is that when entry point wants to validate the user operation for the smart account, the smart account forwards the validation flow to the session key manager. What session key manager does, it checks the general kind of things for the session key, checks if this session key has been, the session key is basically a key pair, like a public and private key, like an EOA. but EOA controlled, let's say, by a debt. And so the session key manager checks if this session key was enabled for a particular smart account, hasn't it expired, and which session validation module should be used. And if everything's okay, it then it forwards the validation flow to the session validation module. Because why we introduced this architecture is because it's not an easy task to build a session key, let's say session key module for the general purpose, because every single dev has a very particular requirement and wants to authenticate with session keys very particular set of actions. So this DApp won't allow their users to authorize a very particular set of actions uh, and let DApp execute them on their behalf. So there is a general purpose session key manager, and there are session validation modules, which that can be very easily built if this is required. So the session validation module checks all of those specific permissions. Let's say we have a session validation module that was made to authorize ERC20 transfers. In this case, the session validation module will check the recipient of the ERC20 transfer. Does it match what was allowed by user? It will check the token, exactly were the operations with this exact token allowed by a user to be performed by a dev on the smart account's behalf, and it can check the amount of the ERC20 transfer, for example. Yeah, obviously, if you need to validate some other operation, you can build another session validation module. That was the initial idea behind the modularity for the session keys, and this concept proved itself to be very powerful. A lot of our customers have built their own session validation module for their very specific use cases and battle tested them, and they are successfully executing operations on their users' behalf, providing them very seamless experience where they don't need to sign every single operation, especially in DeFi. That can be useful, and it works. However, and I will showcase how it works with the only one signature when you enable a session and perform operations on the smart account behalf without any further signature required. Now, today we are going to speak about one particular session validation module. Basically, SVM is the acronym for the session validation module, which we position as a kind of universal one, which will provide an opportunity for depth to, as I said, create custom interactions flow without touching Solidity. So without ABI session validation module, as I said, there is a session key manager. If you want to validate approval user operation, you have the approval session validation module. If you want to authorize swap sessions, you have a swap session validation module. If you have some custom contract for your protocol and custom methods, and you want to authorize interactions with this custom method, you can have your own custom contract method session validation module. If you have something very complex, let's say you have you don't want to limit your the list of approved receivers of ERC20 transfer. You don't want to limit it with one address. You want to encode the list of addresses, let's say by a Merkle tree. You can build very complex custom session validation module for the very custom use case with complex checks and conditions. But this, as I said, requires from depth to build session validation modules with ABI session validation module, we hope that a lot of use cases which dApps have can be including custom contract interactions can be covered with one ABI session validation module built and provided by Biconomy. So you can have approval, swaps, any kind of interactions with any kind of smart contracts. However, if you need something very, very special with very, very complex checks, you will still need to build your own custom session validation module. But I suppose that will be less than not a very significant amount of things, because I will showcase later how batching together interactions. Each of them is validated by ABI SVM. You can create very custom interaction flows authorized by session keys for your users. This is gonna be my demo flow. Let's say I'm a dev, I'm building some DeFi dev, and I want to provide several investment or something like this scenarios to my users. And this is just a demo flow which I want to provide to my users, so they allow a dev to perform such kinds of operations on their behalf. So they don't need to sign every single transaction, or even they don't need to be online at all. The dApp, if the dApp knows the best moment to perform the whole batch of actions or some single action out of those, the dApp can do this without users' involvement. What is required to once sign the permission and enable all of those sessions, like enable the session to approve, enable the session to swap, enable the session to approve another token, enable a session to stake token, and enable a session to claim proceedings. I mean, like your token, which was staked, and the reward. You like user enables those sessions, and by doing this, user allows the dev performing those actions on user's behalf. All right. So now I will show you how does it work, and then we can jump to the code. In the code, I will show how do you create a particular session if you're a dev. So the users only need to sign this once and then interact. Okay, so this is the demo. Can you see my browser? Yep. So can you see my browser right now? Yeah. SVM demo, yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so I connect to Web3 and immediately you can see a couple of errors, but that's okay because I'm trying to check is the session key module enabled, but I can't check this because this smart account has the counterfactual address, but it is not deployed yet. So when this is how it works with account abstraction, I mean smart accounts. When you log into the dev, we can immediately show you the address of your future smart account, even without deploying this. So you already have the address. You haven't spent any let's say Ethereum to actually deploy this smart account, because this is a smart contract, it requires deployment, but you already know this address and you can fund this address. that's what I did beforehand, before this workshop. I sent some Matic, Mumbai Matic to this address, and I also minted some ERC20 tokens to this address. Right now, it shows as a regular EOA, but let's enable the session key module and create the sessions. And automatically by Biconomy SDK, the first operation with this smart account will be preceded by an operation to actually deploy this smart account. So if the smart account is not deployed before performing any actions with this smart account, outgoing actions, because obviously receiving tokens is the incoming action before performing any outgoing actions, it will deploy this smart account and then perform actions. Okay, let's press this enable session key module and create session. And that's the only time when I need to sign anything. I'm signing this. And this is the only signature will be used to authorize deployment of the smart account, enabling the session key manager module, and enabling the sessions. So we can see that we have in the console, we can see that we have 5 sessions created. So we had 5 actions like approve, swap, approve, stake, and claim. And we have 5 sessions. Every session will be performing using the session validation module, which this is the address of my pre-deployed session, ABI session validation module. So now we see the balances, right? So we have the smart account token A balance. As I said, I minted some tokens here, and if I refresh here, we can see that now it is a smart contract. It wasn't verified because it was automatically deployed by a factory. It has short bytecode because it's a proxy. So yeah, we can see in the internal transactions, we can see this contract creation, and this transaction is basically the transaction to enable session key module. All right, so yeah, we have pre-minted token A tokens, but we see that token A allowance to pool is 0, so the pool is not allowed now to take our tokens to us to perform a swap. Let's now approve token A to pool. I separate all the actions, but obviously the first 2 actions can be batched together because, as you see, it doesn't require any signature. I just press the button and I see that it has successfully completed. If I refresh, I can see that token allowance changed. Then now I want to swap. I have some pre-configured amounts to approve and swap to just for the purposes of the quicker demonstration. So now I swap in again, no signature required. Everything happens automatically. And we see that everything is logged. And yep, so we have swapped, and now the token B balance of the smart account should change. Yeah, now we have 99 token B tokens. Now we want to allow token B to stake it. So we can call the staking smart account, and it takes token B from our smart account and basically stakes it. So let's approve token B to stake. Again, no signature, and again, approval and staking can be batched together, but for the sake of the demonstration, I'm not showing this. Yep. This allowance should be okay. We allow 200 And then now let's stake it. Should stake about 50 tokens. I hard coded some values. Let's refresh again, and the balance on the stake protocol should be 50, and on the smart account only 150. All good. Now we want to get our reward, like we want to get our stake and our reward. Again, I'm not using any like leaf production protocols. I just deployed my own very simple protocols, smart contract for the demonstration purposes. So when I will withdraw token from staking, it will automatically reward me with a 10% premium. So stake should be. I want to withdraw, let's say, 40 tokens. The stake should be 10, and my balance should increase by 44, like 40 and 10%. Again, no signature required. So the DApp can perform all of this without any actions from user, like by just triggering actions from the backend by a cron event or by any complex or by any automatization script or something. Let's refresh. And yeah, it increased by 44, and we have only 10 tokens left on the stake. Yeah, so basically that's how it works. We only signed it once when we allowed all the signatures, all the sessions, when we enabled all the sessions, and at the same time deployed the smart account and everything. And then everything that was defined by those 5 sessions, everything is now possible to perform without any additional approval from a user, within the limits, of course, because I will show you the code. In the code, when you create a session, when user enables a session, it the user can very granularly configure the permissions, what user allows for a DApp to do on their smart accounts behalf, and what is not allowed to perform. Yeah, so let's jump to the code. That's a simple React application, and I can share the repository in the chat later, so you can check it out. But basically, this application was built using the Biconomy tutorial, and I just modified it to work with this ABI session validation module rather than the very simple module that is used in the tutorial for the demonstration purposes. What the most interesting part happens in this create session component, which actually creates 5 sessions and enables them. So that's how this is the code to create the session. So if you're a dev, you just write kind of this piece of code to allow your users create and enable sessions, so your dev can perform actions on their smart accounts behalf. Let me show you. Let me quickly show you the layout. By the way, we have the manual, like the tutorial for the ABI session validation module, which I will also share in the GitHub repository. But basically, to configure a session for the ABI session validation module, you have to create the session key. You have to create the session key data object, and along with some other parameters, you just put this session key data object on chain. When that only time when I was signing, I was actually signing the transaction to put the data about my 5 sessions on chain. It was actually cheap because I haven't provided the full 5 sessions at the time of enabling them. I just provided the Merkle root of the Merkle tree, which includes all the 5 sessions. Yeah, basically what you can configure for this universal session validation module, what you can configure. Of course, you configure the general information such as the session key. So the session key data is just a bytes object, bytes packed together according to this layout. First of all, it comes the session key, which is allowed to sign user operations on user behalf for this exact set of permissions. Then there is a permitted destination contract. So this is the contract that the smart account is allowed to interact when the user operation is signed by the session key. So this can be your protocol smart contract, or a pool smart contract, or a stake smart contract, or anything, or a token smart contract. Literally any smart contract. This is the selector, 4-byte selector of the method of the smart contract you allow as a user, you allow to trigger on your behalf. This is the limit of the value which can be passed along with the call. And then we have the set of rules. What rules mean? The rules specify what specify the values for the arguments of the method. So here we specify the smart contract, which implements some method. We specify the method itself. We specify the value limit passed along with the call, and then we can specify permissions for every single argument. So this is the universal session validation module. We don't know in before what are the arguments. So we configure them in a general way. So we have all arguments of the method are considered to be just array of the bytes of the call data, automatically sliced by Solidity into 32 bytes words. So we also treat all the arguments as just a set of the 32 bytes word. It works perfectly for addresses, very intuitively for addresses, for uints, like for integers and stuff like this. For bytes array, it's a little bit more complicated, but obviously any bytes array again can be sliced into 32 bytes words, and you can specify conditions for them as well. But more regularly we deal with integers or addresses, and it's very easy to deal with such kinds of arguments for the methods, as you will see later in the code. So you specify the offset of the 32-byte word, 0, 32, 64, and so on. You specify the condition, and the conditions are explained here. So the condition can be equal, less than or equal, less than, etc., including not equal as well, and the reference value. So if you want to specify, if you want to enable a session to transfer something like ERC20 token, we know that ERC20 transfer method has such a signature like transfer address to uint value. So you will specify the destination contract, it will be a token contract. The selector will be 4-byte selector of the transfer method. The value limit most probably will be 0 because we don't want to pass any value along with the transfer call. And the list of rules will be like offset 0 for the first argument, and the condition will be most probably equal, and the reference value will be some address that you allow to transfer ERC20 token to on your smart account's behalf. And the value would be like for the second argument, the offset will be 32 in bytes. The condition most probably will be less than or equal, and some reference value. Yeah, that's how you create actually the permission for the session, and how the ABI session validation module will handle this. So this is the layout, and that's how it looks in the code. Here I create the permission, like I create the session, which will allow approval of the token A. The destination contract is token A. The selector is the approved selector, only first 4 bytes slide. The value we allow like 0 value. We don't want to pass the value along with this call. And this is the set of the rules. Offset 0, condition 0 means equal, and this is the mock pool address. So we within this exact session we allow to approve tokens to the pool, and we don't allow approve more than 10k tokens. Oh, that's how we create this first operation, which was the approval operation here. Then there we have second operation, swap token A to token B. Now the destination contract we allow to interact with on our behalf, on our smart accounts behalf, it's mock pool. This is the signature of the method of this mock pool contract, and here's the contract. I quickly drafted it. So we have this swap exact tokens for tokens, amount in, amount out, mean, and direction. So now we specify that we want not more 1,000 tokens in, not more than 1,000 tokens out, let's say, but we can completely skip this exact rule. This will mean that we set no limitations for the second argument. Of course, we don't need to set up rules for every argument. We can just skip some arguments, and we only allow direction 0, which means we only allow to swap token A to token B. So the 64 is the offset for the second, like for the third argument. The condition 0 means equal, and the reference value is just 0. Again, we have the third operation. As I showed, this is again approval, but we are now approved token B to the spender will be mock stake protocol, again deployed by me, and we don't allow to approve 10,000 of tokens. This is the stake, obviously, again, stake method signature on the mock stake contract, and we don't allow to stake, let's say 1,000 tokens, more than 1,000 tokens at once. Condition 1 means less than or equal, and then, sorry, this will be withdraw token V from the stake. Now, this is mock stake address. The method will be withdraw method, and don't allow to withdraw more than 1,000. That's how you just create the session key datas. Then you create session objects, and then you just use Biconomy SDK. This is the call to Biconomy SDK. Only one call, and you create session datas. And then you just build user op and send user op to enable all of this. Biconomy SDK will automatically detect that the smart account has not been deployed yet, and under the hood it will append everything to the user operation to first deploy the smart account and then enable the session key manager module. Basically, it is encoded here, like how to enable the module, very short piece of code as well. And then it will send the user operation to do the whole batch of the actions. And now you can just perform the actions without any signatures. That's how I very easily perform those actions. Yeah, this I have here. I have like the buttons. I just prepare the data for the call to mock pool address. Oh, sorry, call to the token A contract to actually approve tokens to the mock pool. And now I approve 1, 2, 3, 4 tokens. As you've seen in the beginning, the allowance was 1, 2, 3, 4. But then when we used some of the allowance to perform a swap of 99 tokens, it has decreased. But if I, for example, right now, I can just click approve, it will become 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Again, I don't need any signatures because everything is powered by the session keys, and it's now 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Yeah, and in the very similar way, I swap 99 tokens, then I approve token B, then I stake. You can remember that we staked 50 tokens, and then we have withdrawn 40 tokens from the stake. Yeah, very easily. We can actually change any amount here, and while it is less than what was, let's say I want to approve 5,000, and since this is less than what I allowed here in the operation one, the limit was not more than 10,000. So yeah, I will be able, let me check. Yeah, it has recompiled. Yeah, I can just approve 5,000 as well. Yeah, now it's 5,000. Yeah, everything works, by the way, on the Polygon Mumbai, and the initial balance was 0.08 Matic. Now it's 0.077, so very, very cheap operations actually. Yeah, that's pretty much it about the demonstration and about how code works. So as I mentioned, everything is powered by Biconomy SDK and can be implemented with a few lines of code. The most maybe time-consuming part would be to create all of those sessions and configure permissions. But basically, I believe this is not a long piece of the code as well. Yeah, I think I'll stop screen sharing by now. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. I think it took about 1 hour for me to display everything. Hope not too long. Yeah, yeah. If I got the question correctly, like is if you mean that why don't just provide the full allowance and then use it? It's how it is being done currently. For example, if you come to some deck, you first provide the full allowance, or maybe I don't know, maybe it works not right now. Maybe it works another way, but I remember sometimes before it worked this way. You for example you want to swap USDT, so you provide the full allowance. So it maximum value of UIN20, UIN like 256. You provide the maximum value of it as an allowance, and then you can spend. But it is considered to be not safe because you obviously allow all the amount of your USDT. If you want to every time allow just some exact amount for a swap, you will without like session keys and without budget operations, you will be allowing only like we will be allowing several times, and you will spend gas every time you perform this allowance. In this case, mm, you can, and also you will need to perform this approval by yourself. Not speaking of spending gas. In this case, you can uh, just allow a dev to approve on your behalf, and the dev will approve the exact amount it needs. And as I mentioned, the approval user operation and the swap user operation can be batched together, which I haven't done for the demonstration purposes. In this case, it won't introduce the huge gas overhead for the separate approval operation.
Right, I think he's typing a follow up. But yeah, when I've been kind of making demos like this or looking into it, and I did this panel in Istanbul, like batch transactions, especially for things like this, like doing the approval and the swap both in a single transaction, are a really strong use case for smart accounts in general. It saves a lot on gas, saves a lot on just general user friction, less clicks. So this is a big part of it too. And yeah, I think that was like a perfect demonstration of using session validation modules to remove pop-ups. Whenever you look at general use cases for smart accounts, right? There's like two main kind of giants of like really what's used today. And one is like gasless transactions, pretty simple, of course, paymasters and whatnot. The other, which I think is pretty underutilized, mostly just because like the tooling hasn't really been there up until quite recently with things like Biconomy V2. But session keys to remove pop-ups from consumer applications like gaming and like social applications and whatnot. And of course, doing that hand in hand with gasless transactions, with patch transactions. This is where you get that user experience that you're talking about in the beginning, that like Web 2 adjacent user experience that comes from this infrastructure. That's where that sweet spot is. So you can even imagine like throwing that in with social logins and everything, and now you have this experience where you are like logging in with your social account. Now you have a smart account. You're doing things without having to sign anything. It's all sponsored. Transactions are batched, so it's cheap for the developer to sponsor it, and it feels cohesive. It feels quick. So this is a really cool use case. And I think did you guys just I don't remember if I saw it correctly, but you guys just launched a partnership with a pretty big chess application, right? That's been using Biconomy and
Yeah.
kind of spearheading that on a few different kind of ultimately very consumer facing basis, right? Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the details of the partnership or the integration, yeah, but I've seen uh, this. I've seen this tweet actually in our Twitter that we're partnering with them, and I've heard this from our like business development department. Yeah, I do think that they should use our session keys most probably.
That's dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good
yeah,
use
yeah.
case for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you very much for speaking more about like the power of the session keys.
Definitely. Yeah, it's when it comes to like the top use cases for smart accounts for account abstraction in general, I think you guys are tapping into the upper echelon of like really getting it adopted. There's been a lot of discussion over the past, you know, even like 12 months. Like, how do we, especially when with the past 2 or 3 quarters, as ERC 437 has been continually, kind of spreading within the ecosystem. A lot of people have said, well, why isn't it like the standard for everybody, right? Why is the adoption of ERC 437 still a little bit, lower than what it could be? But I always say, I mean, I think that we're still getting to a point where the infrastructure is ready for that type of use case where it's like not just kind of gimmicky, but it really serves a true purpose to creating those types of applications. And I think I might have said this in both the last 2 workshops, but I'm always impressed by the technology that we see on these sessions, because I do think that in the theme of creating next generation applications through these workshops, it always hits the mark on like, this is ultimately the type of technology and the user experience that will bring us to that next level of Web3. So I was really glad that we could highlight that on this session. So let's see, you have your repository there. I think it blocks links, so I will throw that into the chat so that people can click on it. There we go. It blocks links from everybody except admins, unfortunately, because we get a lot of spam in here.
I tried to send the link. It was immediately removed. Yeah, this is the link. Yeah, so feel free to navigate to the repo and check everything. I think this is a good example of the very simple integration of Biconomy SDK. Everything you can start sending user operations in just a few lines of code.
Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. That's for those here that are in the workshop that found that interesting. That is a really good resource to go to. Definitely recommend checking it out. Give the repository a star. I started on my personal account, so you guys hop in there and go ahead and start the repo. But I guess like on the topic of resources, as we start to wrap it up here, when developers want to get kind of ingrained in Biconomy and understand how to use your SDKs and kind of dive into the resources that you guys have, what are the best places? What's like the best path for starting with Biconomy that those watching here live on Discord and those also watching on YouTube, how do they best get involved and kind of start working with your tech stack?
Yeah, actually, in this repository, I have included the docs folder. And this docs folder contains the PDF about this exact ABI session validation module. And it includes the simple text file, which includes a few links to Biconomy documentation. This would be the shortest way the quickest way to get started with Biconomy SDK, Biconomy products. If you want to some more general, better understanding of ERC 4337 and account abstraction, just navigate to our blog. We have a blog on the Biconomy website where we provide articles about everything we build, detailed write-ups. We have a perfect article by our CTO Sachin about the structure of the user operation and how entry point and how smart accounts work in 4337. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, then I guess then the best place to go is number one, of course, the repository, and then of course the Biconomy blog. I think when I was doing my initial research, I went to that. I think you showcased it. It was a piece that you guys had on session validation modules, and I read through it. And the Biconomy has some of the best technical content, especially in this vertical in this space. So for those of you that are interested in kind of diving in more, definitely check that out. Especially if you are working with Biconomy on Particle, like I mentioned, we have like full native support for session keys through Biconomy v2. We have direct support through the Biconomy paymaster within our SDK, so you can actually override our paymaster and use Biconomy instead natively. We have a lot of developers that do that, so you can do that as well. And we support Biconomy v1 if you want to use that instead for some reason, even though v2 is better in most ways. So in that sense, we're really excited to kind of continue partnering with Biconomy. And like I mentioned, I think just over the past maybe 30 days, we facilitated over 1.5 million user operations through Biconomy v2 smart accounts. and they were perfect. They held up really well. They worked fantastic for our use case. So if you're thinking about using Biconomy infrastructure for your own project, especially if it's of course through the means of Particle, as we love to see, then it's been tested and it's tried and true. So definitely, if anybody in here is building with it, let me know. Feel free to shoot me a DM. Be happy to highlight it and take a look. Beyond that, I think this was a really great session. Thank you again for hopping in and doing that. Really comprehensive. I loved it. Of course, we will have this recorded on YouTube live, and then of course everybody here in the chat. But before we wrap it up and kind of close it out, any last kind of thoughts or anything from you before we ended up here?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thanks again for this, for the opportunity uh, to have this workshop and to showcase how it worked. How it works. I actually had an idea for some time to make the demonstration. I'm a huge fan of the composability and flexibility that the session keys with modules provide. So you can take the very simple session validation modules like the AB, and now with the ABI session validation module, this can be just a single session validation module. You can put them together and you can unlock the very complex and very composable, as I said, flows. This flow that I demonstrated, you could have seen that it is made of 5 single blocks. You can easily replace any block in this flow and you get the completely another flow. Without this ABI session validation module, you would have to, let's say, build a custom session validation module for this exact flow. If you want to change something, you have to deploy a new session validation module. Now you have just, let's say, build those building blocks, and you can build complex interaction flows and allow users with this. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it on my side. Please feel free to reach out to any Biconomy team member on Telegram. We have support groups on the Telegram or in the Discord, and happy to assist if you have any idea of building something in Web3 using account abstraction, something user-faced with our Biconomy Smart Accounts, or just use any part of our infrastructure. Yeah, feel free to contact us. We'll be happy to help. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Well, then I think that wraps up this workshop. For everybody here that is kind of sticking around, like I mentioned, this is the second to last workshop that we have. So we'll be doing another one in about 6 hours ish. With Alchemy diving into also kind of different part of account abstraction. So if you guys are interested in that, I will have the reminder for that set in the verified developer channel as well as in the general developer channel. So go and check that out. Make sure to set a reminder for that later today, and then that'll wrap up the workshop marathon that we've been running this week. Thank you again for hopping in. Amazing session. I will throw the link to the YouTube video here right after this ends. That way, anybody that maybe missed the first half can kind of go back and watch it. And other than that, I think that is about it. Thank you for hopping in, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And I believe that the next session with Alchemy will be a very interesting one.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Have a great day or night, everyone. Bye bye. See you.
See you guys.